So today we're going to be discussing two articles that I found and how they relate to my research paper, which covered Southeast Asia's relationship with the IMF and possible alternatives like the New Development Bank, which was just formed by the BRICS organization. So the first article that I found was an article that was about the first approved loans by the BRICS organization, which were the loans of 811 million US dollars in renewable energy projects. So the New Development Bank was just recently formed at the end of 2015, and they've just started working on providing loans to the respective regions of Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa. And the organization has just implemented a um, a loan a loan policy which has been working with the IMF and quotas for its loans, and it just approved these loans for these countries. And the important aspect to take note of here is the renewable energy factor. So a lot of the IMF's previous loans have been focused solely on economic growth within the country, but this economic growth usually resulted in a higher carbon footprint within each of these countries. What the New Development Bank is doing in its current mission, as stated by Leslie Masdorp, the vice president of the organization, is that the NDB is trying to promote sustainable energy, renewable energy in its loans and in its reforms in its respective countries. So this was a huge step forward for the organization, and it should be a base step in establishing the organization's uh, trust and its effectiveness in international countries around the world. Um, so one of the NDB spokespersons says that there are many more new projects in the pipeline, including projects from Russia, and they're at various stages of consideration or appraisal. So this means that there are many more projects on the way by the NDB, which are in the promotion of renewable energy, which should be a huge step forward again for the BRICS and NDB. So why is sustainable development, renewable energy a big deal for the NDB? Well, in another article but in The Guardian that is titled The Sustainable Development Goals and How We're All Developing Countries Now, talks about how now that more of the world has been globalized and that um, the southern the southernly polarized countries, or the countries that were formerly less developed, that have now been more developed and are becoming on par with more developed countries. As those countries are continuing to develop, um, the countries, the previously westernized, the previously very developed countries, need to take a step back and realize how to continue moving forward as a world, we need to work together and sustainably develop our countries and reduce our carbon footprint so that the world may be a better place for future generations. So, as it says in the article, we are all developing nations from now on, and that's a refreshing and positive message. It says to the global north, which were the previously more developed countries, that you may have a much higher GDP per capita, but it doesn't mean that your societies are immune to problems that affect everyone in our globalized globe. It's a reminder that the pursuit of prosperity isn't just something for people far away to worry about. The article also talks about how GDP per capita is no longer the efficient way to calculate a country's development, as the most developed countries in the world, like the USA and UK, also are ranked highest on the OECD list, according to the latest Luxembourg income study figures. The US and UK are second and fourth most unequal OECD countries, respectively, on the income distribution list. This means that the wealthiest in the country, the disparity between the wealthiest in the country and the the poorest in the countries are the most compared to other countries around the world. This is a problem that needs to be addressed if this world is to move forward and progressively develop. There are also a lot of problems that are going on right now that are showing to all of these developed countries how they can further develop their economic and political policies. The problems such as the European refugee crisis, mass movement within these countries require these developed countries to come up with new solutions to deal with the massive influx of people. This requires the countries to come up with sustainable development goals, and that is a ideal that all countries should be working towards right now, rich or poor, as sustainable development is a current problem that is pressing and needs to be addressed if we're to move forward globally as a global